Échenme la manita ahí, mi raza.
All right, welcome back. So we're going to be doing a quick recap. Okay, you guys remember
Estamos,
uh, the May Day protests
estamos en
that held on Friday? Okay, so that
Los
happened,
Ángeles, en el
and
área de Los
remember, this
Ángeles,
is
California.
just a few days after President another assassination attempt was carried out, or not carried out, but almost carried out during the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And then the leftists and Democrats decide that this is a perfect time to resume our insanity. So they did a soft launch of their protests because they can't protest during the winter. Okay, they are not really true believers. They took a break for winter. They all went on the holidays. The paid protesters, and then we have them back for the soft launch on May 1st. Now, today we're going to be covering um, a very disturbing trend, which of course we predicted. We have Democrats acting out and using, of course, the rhetoric that same Republicans or conservatives use. We have sitting members of the government, or let's say elected officials, sending death threats to President Trump. One of them was just arrested. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to be reading some of the comments from our recent live streams. Before now, as always, send your comments in the chat. I would like to exchange, some of our observations and then have a conversation. So this was Friday, and we talked about it already. Teachers essentially emptied out schools and brought students out to these protests. What do you think about this? Why do they still have jobs? Why is it that teachers would drag students out of the classrooms? Okay, I'm using dragged, okay, facetiously, but let's just say they have been indoctrinating the kids, they're training them to become activists in the communist marches that they have begun to openly states. So my question to you is, what's going on in America? What on earth is going on with the parents? Why aren't parents essentially suing the Department of Education for allowing these teachers to do this to their kids? Okay, so help me to understand, for those of you who understand what's going on, because if those were my kids, they would not be back in school on Monday. To get them out of those schools and get them to either a private school, or figure out a way to homeschool them, just or figure out a transition plan. I know that saying that would be like being too extreme, because private schools are expensive, and homeschooling too has its own cost, especially if you're a two-income home. Go of one income to essentially homeschool. But let me know what you think about that crazy idea. So we have that happening, and then so we'll talk about that in the chat. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the chat. Now, we've said again and again that the left are essentially addicted to violence, right? So here's a woman. Here she a shirt about kindness, okay, and here's what she's doing to an effigy of President Trump. Okay, the left. All right, so the left is a party of violence. You know it, I know it, because they condone this kind of behavior. Can anyone watching send me a video of conservatives or Republican supporters doing this to Joe Biden's effigy? or God forbid, Obama, that would never end. Like, you would never be able to live that down. Okay, it would be the January 6th of Obama's time in office. So anyone out there, send me a video of them doing this. They have kids doing this to Trump's to pinatas of Trump. You have this happening routinely. Okay, these people are indoctrinating their voters to be violent. Now, stay tuned. We're going to talk about the Democrat elected official who essentially but he posted death threats to the president, and essentially he's been arrested. Now, one of the crazy things that we talked about during the protests that happened on Friday is this. Okay, you have people who claim that they are against the billionaires, and yet they don't realize that the billionaires are the ones who are paying them to be able to take time off, leave their classrooms, leave their jobs, and protest against the billionaires. And then the other irony is that those protests are being funded by other billionaires. So the lack of self-awareness by the protesters and by the leftists is just staggering. All right, so this meme here, okay, this is the best graphic description of the utter stupidity of the left. And you have this guy, the socialist, standing on the end of a plank and wanting to shoot the capitalist who essentially is propping him up, and he doesn't know it. That's what's happened to every communist society ever. They kill off the people who know how to create the wealth and then wonder why they're wallowing in poverty and oppression afterwards. It happened in China, happened in the Soviet Union. It happens every single time they rear their heads and decide that they want to take over things. And the fact that they don't even realize that that's happening is very is sad. Okay. Now, do you guys remember the week that Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and Alex Jones decided that they were going to attack Trump and say everything they've always wanted to say about Trump, maybe because they thought they had an advantage? Okay. There was something I said during one of those live streams. I said that these people were counting on the forgiveness of the conservative side because they were going to come back later and say, oh my, I didn't really mean that, or I didn't know doing. Oh, please forgive me. I love Trump now. Or did I say that? No, I never said that. If you watch the live streams that we did during that period, it's right there, okay? And you can always watch them because it's all saved. Now, here is Tucker Carlson, and this would blow your mind.
What I was saying, which is you cannot mock other people's gods and put yourself in their place.
All right, so I'm going to give you the background, okay? I'm going to read the post first. All right, so the New York Times asked Tucker Carlson, I'm not going to read the insult, why he called Trump the Antichrist. If you guys remember the videos we played, he clearly said that Trump was the Antichrist. Okay. Now, Tucker Carlson claims he never said that. Now, let's watch this. And I love the timeline that we're living in right now because people can claim anything they want, but there's always evidence that they did say what they're being accused of saying.
Period. Saying what I was saying, which is you cannot mock other people's gods and put yourself in their place. Period. That is a deal. That's worse than the war with Iran, in my opinion.
I ask because, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in
Correct.
ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods and exalting himself above them, could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
Look, they literally put what he said right after that clip. April 15, 2026. Look, Megyn Kelly, okay, did an about turn. I think it was a day or two after the attempted assassination, okay, last weekend. And now Tucker Carlson is making his own about turn. Now you're going to hear something else he says.
Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's
Okay, so he claims that those words never left his lips, but we just saw those words leave his lips. We do this to Democrats routinely. We routinely do this to Democrats, okay? Because whenever the Democrats step forward and say, oh, we never said that, or the Republicans are the party of this or the other, there's always evidence out there. And now Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly are on the receiving end. It's sad. I would say it's sad. It does have entertainment value for a lot of people, but I would say that that is sad because honestly, I like Tucker Carlson. When my channel was below 1,000 subscribers, one of the videos that did well above average was a video where I reacted to one of his speeches. He was one of the firebrands we had out there who was essentially fighting for free speech for the little guy. We supported him, we loved him, we essentially wanted his new business to succeed, and everyone rushed to subscribe to his channels. And now we have him doing exactly what the mainstream media has been doing to us for decades.
just one, I actually tried to understand it. I may have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing on that because I don't understand it.
Okay, so he also said something here that I want to point out because it, like, I need to emphasize, or not emphasize, but point it out. All right. So Tucker Carlson repeats here that he doesn't know enough about the Antichrist.
I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it.
All right. So Trump is Tucker Carlson, not Trump. Tucker Carlson is claiming that he doesn't understand what the Antichrist is. However, Tucker Carlson was doing a show with what's his name, Russell Brand, and claimed that the description of the Antichrist in the book of Daniel kind of hinted at President Trump. Okay, now it's very convenient. It's very convenient that all of this is happening and he's simply saying, well, I never said so, but all the evidence is out there. And it's sad that this is happening to Tucker Carlson, but well, it is what it is. All right. Now, we like to go back to these things because we need to be reminded that we have to keep our eyes open, our ears open, look and see what's going on. Essentially call out the hypocrites, make sure that we don't get caught unawares. And we need to essentially hold people accountable on both sides, on the left and also on the right, because here's what happens, okay? Let's just say the Republicans pass the SAFE Act and the Democrats find themselves not being able to win any major election for the next 20 years. Let's just assume that happens. There's another danger that comes up, which is the fact that there's a party in power. That party begins to attract all kinds of people who want a piece of the influence that party carries. And then the next thing you know is you have weirdos showing up in the Republican Party claiming to be conservatives, but at the very center, they are leftists. They only came in pretending to be conservative because it was good for business. Okay. You have the likes of Sri Thanagar, the Democrat who keeps screaming about indicting Trump for one thing or the other, trying to get his name on the map. He's never going to happen. Okay, he doesn't have that star power. He doesn't have the appearance of someone who will rise very high in the Democrat Party. So you have the likes of him who years ago attended Republican rallies, attended Republican events. He loved being around Republicans because then it was the party in power. And then suddenly, when it wasn't convenient for him to be around the Republican Party, he switched over to the Democrats. The same thing happens in third world countries. Like in my country of origin, people switch parties on a dime because it is convenient to do so. It is profitable to do so. You don't get appointments. You don't get into places of power without being in those in that political party or in the political party or that is in power. So essentially, that is going to happen with a Republican Party that stays in power for 20 years. And then what do you get next? You have the Republican Party begin to morph into the very thing that it defeated years before. So we have to learn how to hold both sides accountable. It is very important. So, all right. So we're going to jump into our main series of stories. Okay. Well, before we do that, okay, I want to quickly springboard through this story here. Okay. Democrat Representative Benny Thompson says he is willing to force Americans to suffer through another shutdown. Now, they've been calling the shutdowns that they inflicted on the American people the Trump shutdown, and it's rich coming from the Democrats. Look, anyone by now who can't see that the Democrats are full of liars, okay, I genuinely cannot help them. I can't help them. Because they're the ones who shut down the government. They're the ones who threatened to shut down the government. They're the ones who said we will shut down the government and then turn around and say it was Trump that shut down the government. This is a Trump shutdown. I despise lies. I despise lies. And I utterly am repulsed by anyone who uses lies as tools. And once I saw the Democrats embracing that model, I mean, they basically lost any chance of having me give them a charitable thought because they've openly lied. They've lied to us and they continue to lie to us. Now, and that is why Tucker Carlson right now, like he's basically, he's lost me completely. Okay. I appreciate the mileage he gave to the MAGA movement when he was still a part of the movement, but the lie we just caught him out on, where he essentially says those words never left my mouth, and we saw the video where those words left his mouth. Well, that's it. I do not appreciate liars. Okay, now he's trying to sanitize his image, but I think that ship has sailed. Okay, so let me know in the chat what you think about the Tucker Carlson situation, the situation with the Democrats essentially promoting violence. And we're going to get into this story where the Democrats threatened Trump, and we're going to look at that story shortly. But let's listen to this Democrat attempt to let us know that another shutdown is coming.
Let me just get clarity, and I'm going to let you finish your answer here. When you say absolutely, that suggests that there could be another shutdown and there could be another lapse in pay for those TSA workers, the Coast Guard. if Republicans Democrats withhold those votes at the end of September?
Absolutely. Yeah, but look, we have to stand for democracy. Democracy says that in America, we have to know who's knocking at our door if they want to come in. That's just a foundational premise. And so if we have to fight for it, there has to be sacrifice.
So you sacrifice your kids because there's some random person out there you don't know who wants to move into your house, right? This is the insanity of the left, the suicidal empathy that we've been talking about for years. And I'm sorry, but anyone who still votes Democrat today, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Now, here's okay, so this is yet another lie. Okay, these are the people that Democrats listen to. Okay, Jennifer Welsh, this woman over here. Okay, I'm sorry, but based on the things she says, this woman is diabolical and is evil. Based on the things she says. And here's another thing she's saying, and I'm just going to play the video.
Okay. Anybody who says they are a MAGA Christian, I want to say it over and over and over again until it resonates. MAGA and MAGA Christians are an anti-family, anti-child death cult. Full stop.
So they are now accusing Christians and MAGA of the very things that they're doing. They're the ones who want to abort kids all the way up to 9 months. They are the ones who want to rip children away from their parents because the child has been brainwashed by the school system and has been told that they are not the biological sex that they were born in. These are the people who want to do all of that, but now they're accusing MAGA Christians of doing the exact thing that they're doing.
Policies lead to that. Their actions lead to that. Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth and Kristi Noem and all of these little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, they can get on the airwaves all they want to and Bible thump and Trump thump till the cows come home. At the end of the day, these are brazen, diabolical hypocrites that support child rape, cover up for child rape, because MAGA is an anti-family, pro-pedophilia death cult.
So these are the people that are listened to by a wide swath of Democrat voters. And the more they listen to these people, the more they decide that it's okay. It's okay to decide that you should go ahead and send President Trump a death threat. So here's the story that we're leading up to, okay? All right. Pennsylvania man running for U.S. Senate. Okay, sorry. I said he was a lawmaker. I apologize. I stand corrected. I'm not going to do what Tucker Carlson just did and say those words never left my mouth. Okay? Pennsylvania man running for U.S. Senate in 2028 who branded himself online as a nice, wholesome guy who wears suspenders has been arrested for calling for the assassination of President Trump. Raymond Chandler is accused of sending the following voicemail to a member of Congress. Sir, I have I'm calling this morning because I want you to imagine a scenario. I want you to imagine a scenario where all the 1,000 or 1,200 billionaires in this country, all their properties are surrounded simultaneously by 1,000 people. So imagine your house, your daughter's house, everyone you know and love who is also rich. Imagine every single one of those homes being surrounded by 1,000 people. Then imagine them all getting a text and then suddenly taking out their pocket knives, walking slowly towards your house with 10. You got it. You got your 10 guards or whatever against 1,000 people. This guy is describing the Russian Revolution. These people are turned on by Marxist revolutions. Like, just see how he's describing it. And then they come out and they pull you out of your house and they slit your throat and they slit your daughter's throat and they slit everyone's throat, that, you know, sir, that is the future. That's what this guy who is running for Senate in 2028. Remember, the Democrats set the precedent when the guy in Virginia who essentially sent those awful text messages to his opponent, saying things like, look, you know, his opponent's child should be murdered, that would set them straight. Okay, that guy got exposed. The Democrat Party refused to disavow him, and he won the election, guys. He won the election. We've been saying it for a long time. The Democrat Party is a party of criminals, of illegal aliens, and of perverts. Okay? And we're seeing it play out. And every time it plays out and they prove us right, they turn around and claim that, oh no, that we're bigots. We're seeing things. This guy is running. And you know what? If he doesn't get arrested and go to jail, he's going to win that election, because essentially he is catering or pandering to the most extreme sector or segment of the Democrat voting base, because most of them believe in violence. 1 week later, he allegedly sent the following voicemail. Again, 2 voicemails. You've probably getting quite used, or you're probably getting quite used to my voice. Sir, I'm calling this evening because what I want you to do is, I want you to take a firearm. I want you to put it in your hand. I want you to walk into the Oval Office. I want you to pull that firearm to the president's head, and I want you to pull the trigger, and I want you to kill. This is what they're doing, guys. It's hard to oh geez. Again, I'm petitioning you, Senator, for redress of grievances. My redress of grievances is that this president is awful. He's a liar among all liars. Now, where is he hearing all this from? He's hearing all this from where? TDSBC, CNN, Jennifer Welsh. I had to play that before I read this, because you need to know where they're hearing all of that insanity from. My redress of grievances is that this president is awful. He's a liar among all liars. He's a great deceiver. He is the Antichrist. Now, who was the person we just watched who called Trump the Antichrist? It's all coming full circle, guys. It's coming full circle. I want you to walk into the Oval Office with a gun in your hand, and I want you to put it to his temple, and I want you to pull the trigger. That is what I want you to do as my agent. So this guy is somewhere along the line, they're going to claim that he's unwell. Okay, when the consequences come calling, his lawyer is going to claim that this guy is unwell. That's what I want you to do as my elected official. That's what I'm petitioning you to do with my free speech. I want you to kill the president. I want you to assassinate the president. That's what I want you to do. Now, Senator, are you going to come after me? Are you going to try to, are you going to try me because of my voice and what I said? Look, guys, nice guys always end up being the worst in society. Now, this is the guy. Okay, so let's watch this video, guys. Now, remember, now look at this arrow up here. Okay, he has this sign, be kind. Remember the lady who was beating up the piñata earlier. Remember her? Okay, she had a t-shirt about kindness. These guys talk about kindness, they talk about compassion, they talk about empathy and love and unicorn farts, and they are just full of hate. They're so full of hate. So this guy decides that he's going to try to convince his rep to murder the president. So let's listen to the dude.
If this is enough for me, And by all measures, this is more than what so many have. Why is $100 million not enough for somebody else? Why do they need billions? Why do they keep hoarding it all for themselves? Aren't they happy? While many people spend their time thinking, screw you, I got mine, I'm sitting here thinking, I got mine, doesn't everyone else have theirs?
Why don't you give yours to other people who don't have it? Why do you need to essentially daydream about billionaires who, a bunch of them, have worked hard for their money, and you just want to rally people to surround their homes and to murder them and take their property?
Well, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to get you back your share. I'm going to hunt it down, and I'm going to bring it back to you like a bloodhound fetches a pheasant. I shall lay it at your feet. Because where I'm from hasn't changed. In my youth, while going through my struggle, I had the great honor of being adopted by a black family, to be loved by a black mother, and to grow in friendship with a man I love like a brother. I love you, Joe, Twa, Choicey, Aunt Rosie, and Miss Linda. I do this for you. I do this for my birth family, for Ashley and for Ian, for my parents. I do this for you. For my godson and my god grandbabies, I do this for you.
All right, so this guy, Nicholas Olton, I think that's your name. You're asking what's going on here. Well, this guy essentially sent a message to his rep, urging his rep to take a gun, walk into the Oval, and murder Trump. He's been arrested. So we're essentially catching up on who this guy is and where he's coming from. Obviously, he hates Trump. He wouldn't vote Republican. And we're listening to him essentially. I don't know what this video is, but essentially he's trying to express how he was raised by a black family, and essentially trying to make himself appear to be the everyman or the white man who understands black people because he was raised by black people or something like that.
For Johnny, Erika, and Ariana, I do this for you. And for every single family in Pennsylvania who is struggling, who has been left behind, I am coming back for you. I do this for you. My name is Raymond. I am a Quaker, a Christian, a Buddhist, and a follower of the way of Hermes.
Yeah, so he's a Quaker, a Christian, a Buddhist. Already you see that he's confused. All right, he is confused because anyone who is a Christian knows that you can't be a Christian and a Buddhist at the same time. All right, and I'm not talking about being a cultural Christian. All right, so Nicholas Olton is essentially accusing me of, are you accusing me of receiving funds from Trump cronies, or the billionaires of receiving funds from Trump cronies? When you say it like that, I would ask you, where was, you just have to clarify before I respond. I need to know what you're talking about. Are you referring to the billionaires that he's talking about? And are you accusing the billionaires of receiving funds from Trump's cronies? I don't understand your comment. Okay. Now, guys, we're going to be discussing this. Okay. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. Nicholas clearly is trying to express himself. Okay, so Nicholas clearly is a Democrat. Okay, and Nicholas, I'm going to give you one more chance to say something sensible, because throwing accusations without any proof, okay, is weird. Okay, you're calling Fetterman a brain damaged traitor as opposed to leftist judge Ketanji Brown, who essentially can't tell you what a woman is, or as opposed to Tim Walz, who believes that boys can menstruate, so he puts tampons in their bathrooms, or as opposed to most of the Democrat Party, who believe that girls should be invaded by boys in their washrooms or toilet or bathrooms, or who believe that boys can become girls and go into girl sports and beat the hell out of girls. So when you accuse Fetterman of being brain damaged, it doesn't make you look good, okay? Because all of the policies that we've been saying that the Democrat Party is picking, which are losing policies, and they're doubling down on, that's what Fetterman is calling out. And you're calling him brain damage, so it doesn't make you look good, guy. Okay? So Nicholas essentially is essentially not a fan of Fetterman or of Trump. So that's fine. All right. So Nicholas, I've given you the courtesy of reading your messages. Now, guys, if you're listening, anyone else who's listening and wants to come and wants to respond to Nicholas, you can go ahead and respond to him in the chat. All right. That is all cultural war nonsense. No, no. Nicholas, you can't pull the cultural war nonsense. These are things that were read from the floor of the House and Senate. You can't pull that. And I'm not going to waste my time showing you video upon video of Democrats pushing for these insane policies on the floor of Congress. Okay? So please don't go there, because I mean, you need to understand where we're coming from. We didn't just randomly wake up and start picking up on these things. These are policies that the Democrats have pushed again and again and again till the cows come home, till they're blue in the face, and they have refused to, circle back to common sense. Okay, Fetterman is calling them out on it, and you're calling him brain damaged. I don't know what to say to you. All right, so that is the dude. Okay, well, he claims to be a Christian, a Buddhist, and a Mormon, also a Quaker, and that's confusion. That's someone who doesn't know what Christianity is. He doesn't know what being a follower of Jesus is. So I'm sad for him. Okay, so let's move on and see what else we've got. So the report essentially is that okay, so in one voicemail, we've already watched this video. In one voicemail on April 18th, 2026, Chandler allegedly described a graphic scenario in which the congressman and his 13-year-old daughter attacked, saying they would be pulled out of their houses and have their throats slit. So I read that already. Now, Nicholas says he is brain damaged. This is obvious. Nicholas, I would side with you if any of the things he has said, if any of the things that John Fetterman has said over the last couple of years, or at least the last 6 months, have been things like boys deserve to be able to go into girls' washrooms or toilet or bathrooms, or boys deserve to claim that they're now girls and should be able to play in women's sports. I would say that he's brain damaged. If you can say that every Democrat that has said that is brain damaged, then I'll concede. Okay, so I'm waiting. If you don't concede to that, then you're simply, flipping. You're just flipping out and trying to, call someone you don't like names. Okay. Now, let me be honest with you, Nicholas. Nicholas, when John Fetterman had that stroke years ago, and he was running to retain his Senate seat, I was rooting for the Republican and saying, it's obvious that Fetterman would win because Democrats will vote for a flagpole. Okay, they will vote for a flagpole just to make sure that a Republican stays out of office. And they brought the recovering husk of John Fetterman to the debate. He could hardly articulate himself, and yet he still won. Democrats voted for him overwhelmingly, and he was returned as the senator. So now you don't like what he's saying, and you look, you guys voted him back in. You clearly thought that he wasn't brain damaged. So if you are still calling him brain damaged, then then it's fine. Now, you're claiming that I'm distracted by what's this? That is all distractions, and you fell for it. Focus on the important stuff. I don't understand what you're talking about, dude. So what's the important stuff? Trump bad, or Trump is bombing people who assault and kill young women for saying that they want freedoms and they want to walk around the streets with their hair wide, open and exposed. They don't want to wear burqas. Okay, guys, let's move on. So essentially, this individual here is, has been arrested. He's been arrested, and just to point out what we've been saying all along. Okay, Democrats like to back people that essentially support the most fringe ideologies, right? Let's listen to this report, and then we'll wrap this up. All right, we'll listen to this, and then we'll wrap it up. Now, Nicholas, I respect the fact that we're having a back and forth, and I respect the fact that you're not screaming obscenities in the chat or calling out or trying to call me names. I know, I respect that. I respect the fact that you're standing your ground and essentially expressing your displeasure with John Fetterman. I respect it. I just spent some time calling out Tucker Carlson because he betrayed the conservative movement. All right, I have the right to. I didn't call him names. I didn't say he was brain dead. I simply said he made a decision. I don't agree with the decision. He doubled down and lied, and that has discredited him in my eyes. Okay. Now, if you have the opinion that John Fetterman is brain dead, I mean, that's not objectively true, because when you listen to him have interviews with the press, he still he answers questions. Okay, he answers questions clearly and coherently, but not like Joe Biden. Okay, not like Joe Biden, who would essentially trail off in mumbling speech. Okay, and Joe Biden was meant to be the guy who wasn't brain dead. So it's hard for me to take that accusation seriously when there are comparable situations where the Democrats clearly thought John Fetterman was fit for duty, voted for him overwhelmingly. You said that he won because his opponent was an utter clown. I don't know about that. Republicans have their issues, and I call them out when they do. But he won. In your opinion, Fetterman won. And when I say your opinion, I'm speaking generally about Democrats. He won. He was returned as a senator, and it's fine. But now he's doing stuff you guys don't like. Stop calling him names and simply vote him out. It's really that simple. Okay, just vote him out. Do the job at the ballot box. Vote him out and put someone else in. Okay, and if that guy turns around like John Fetterman, you guys have to own the vote and say, okay, we voted this guy in, and it's our fault. Just like these candidates that the Democrats are about to vote in. Okay. Nicholas, I am not going to take the bait on this last post you posted, because it's just...
It was a big week for progressives in Maine and in Michigan. Far-left Democratic candidates got a big boost. In Michigan, Mallory McMorrow has been running against the far-left Abdul El-Sayed in the Senate primary. El-Sayed has campaigned with the pro-theft, pro-political murder, anti-American Twitch streamer Hassan Piker. And El-Sayed himself has said that Israel is no better than Hamas. McMorrow was more to the center, and the two have been neck and neck. But this week, old tweets from McMorrow's surfaced in which she defended coastal elites and made fun of Michigan, even fantasizing that the U.S. amicably broke off from Middle America. The tweets will no doubt give El Sayed a leg up in the primary. And over in Maine, you had moderate Janet Mills running against progressive Graham Plattner, the man who got a Nazi skull and crossbones tattoo 20 years ago, which he only thought to cover up this year when it was exposed by his opposition.
Look, this is the quality that we're seeing in the Democrat Party. Someone running for AG. Okay, now, Nicholas, it's clear now you're a troll. So thank you very much for gracing my chat. I'm not giving you any more oxygen. So first off, you have this guy, an AG, who essentially says, look, he fantasizes about his opponent's kid being murdered right in front of their eyes. Maybe they would vote the right way. That's the guy that got voted in as AG of Virginia. Then you look at this guy who had a Nazi tattoo, clear Nazi tattoo on his chest, being given a pass by the Democrat Party. But the guy who has a Jerusalem cross on his chest is the Christian nationalist. Yeah, right. And then you have the likes of, Bernie Sanders backing him and essentially saying that this guy is a good guy. Well, you guys know how to pick them. And then you have this other guy, Syed, who essentially loves Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker, okay, whether he's a true believer, whether what he's doing is a grift, I don't know. I can't read his mind. I can only listen to his words and say to you, okay, this is what Hassan Piker says he believes. Okay, he says the US deserved 9/11. Okay, he said it. It's an objective fact. The videos are out there, and people who say stuff like that generally shouldn't be the face or the spokespeople of your party, but the Democrats have made him the spokesperson of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party who attacked Elon for waving, and his hand happened to go up at a 45-degree angle, and they had days of coverage claiming that he was a Nazi. But this guy who has a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest, you have the media continuing to glaze over and whitewash that situation. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrat Party.
He's also blamed women for being raped, among other controversial Reddit posts. Well, Mills dropped out this week, leaving Plattner the last man standing against Republican Susan Collins. Is this what's left of the Democratic Party? Hamas to the left of me, Nazis also bizarrely to the left, and here I am stuck in the middle with you.
Yep, that's the Democrat Party for you guys. All right, so that will be the last story. We've covered the cycle. We've seen the protests from Friday. We've looked at how they essentially claim that capitalism is bad, but they don't realize that it's the capitalists that are propping up the economy and giving them the leeway to leave their jobs to protest the billionaires who are paying their jobs, while sadly being funded by billionaires. And then we looked at the other stories of leftist violence and essentially asked the problem. So ask the question, why is there such a problem with violence on the left, with them punching and destroying effigies of President Trump? Did we see that happening when Biden or Obama were in office? None of that happened. So the left clearly has an affiliation or an attachment to violence, because that's what we're seeing. And then with this story that we dovetailed into with the guy who plans on running for Senate in 2028, trying to convince his rep to murder a sitting president. And then we're looking at these two candidates who both represent the thing that Democrats claim to be against, but they essentially are now the front runners in their respective races. It's amazing to watch. It's fascinating. and it's good for us to just point and smile and ask ourselves, okay, what are we looking at? So, guys, thank you for hanging out. Nicholas, thank you for gracing the chat. Yes, I finally said, okay, you're trolling me right now, but thanks for the post you put in the chat. For everyone else who's watching, thank you for hanging out. It's been a busy weekend with lots of stuff happening, and we'll be back tomorrow night with yet another set of stories, because you know what? When we think that the Democrats and leftists have exhausted the insanity that all the insanity they have to offer, they come up with yet another round of insanity that tops the previous one. We'll see tomorrow. You guys hug your loved ones, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.